Hi everyone, and welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Welcome to my vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture, from anime to TV to film and so much more. I would appreciate it if you would like this video, give it a share out, leave me a comment on what you think, and I really hope that I have earned your subscription. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Any and all help is appreciated. What am I going to talk about today? So, to kick things off, I'm just going to say Zack Snyder, he held his Full Circle event, which is a very good cause. He raises money for suicide prevention and awareness. Good for him. And he, talks about his movies and stuff. And, it's a perfect gathering. His fans really enjoy it. Good for him. Now, he made a comment during the live stream, and it had, I believe, Ben Affleck was there and a few other people who were a part of his Snyderverse, his adaptions, his terrible adaptions of the DC universe. And I don't know if I can't remember if he was answering a question, but his fans, his cult, they've really been pushing for the Snyderverse, his trilogy of movies, and Wonder Woman, even though that was Patty Jenkins, to be moved to another streaming service besides HBO Max, which is now just known as Max, by the way, because I don't know why, but that's just what they do sometimes. So during this, whoever asked the question, or if he just said it, haphazardly, like I said, I can't remember, but they asked him about this possibility: will those movies go to another streaming service? And he answered in the affirmative that there is a possibility that Warner Brothers will, in fact, license the Snyderverse to another streaming service. More than likely, it would be Netflix, since Snyder works with Netflix now. They managed to scoop him up now that he was rejected by Warner Brothers and Disney, so they managed to scoop him up so he could make his knockoff Star Wars and Rebel Moon, clone basically. So it's very interesting that he said this. I think you should be aware of two things. First of all, yeah, duh. Warner Brothers often licenses their content to other streaming service. If you search Batman in Netflix or Amazon Prime, you could probably find content right now. Maybe not so much with Paramount Plus. Certainly not Crunchyroll, for example. It's controls very niche. It mainly focuses on anime. But yeah, this really, to me, there, all of his, members of his Zaddy cult, they're all like going nuts over this on Instagram and Twitter and other social media outlets. Like, oh my gosh, hey, I might go to another streaming service. Oh my gosh, I can win. Well, yeah, duh. Like I said, Warner Brothers does this all the time, especially around the anniversary of one of their popular films. They'll license it out to Netflix or to Amazon or some other streaming service. That's not that uncommon. And also, depending on if the film it was unpopular, they might even put it on a free streaming service. I remember, now this might not be true anymore because Crackle they bought out by Chicken Soup for the Soul. I don't know why Sony gave up that app. That boggles my mind. Maybe it's just too expensive to run that and Crunchyroll. But you could find Warner Brother films on Crackle. Like I said, that may not be true anymore because since Chicken Soup for the Soul bought it, but that was not uncommon. That this is something that Warner Brothers does all the time because, like I said, especially around a film's anniversary, they want to gin up, those likes and those tweets and those view counts, so they'll license it. I remember used to be able to watch all of the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batman films way before HBO Max kind of locked down their Batman content. So yeah, duh. I'm sure that's gonna do. Second, and I know I'm gonna take flack for this, if I don't already, for me calling Zack Snyder a hack. But second, Zack Snyder lies a lot. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'm happy that he's using his notoriety to do something so great as to raise money for suicide awareness and prevention, and I have absolutely no criticisms of that. All of my criticisms are pointed to Zack Snyder as being, a director. He's not a good director. He's a terrible director. I mean, he's very good with visuals, although Army of the Dead might suggest otherwise. But that was very poorly not visually pleasing movie, as opposed to, say, 300, which is his one good film, or say, Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch, even though that was a terrible movie, the visuals on it were pretty amazing. But just going back to my point, Zack Snyder does lie a lot. So whenever the Joss Whedon cut of the film was released, people who Zack Snyder's detractors were saying this movie isn't even, his cut isn't even done. And he came out and he said, oh, yes, it is. And like he posted that really famous picture of all of the film reels, in like this cabinet space, and it said Zack Snyder's Justice League on it. And he's like, yes, it just needs a little bit of editing, but other than that, it's done. So then, $60 million later, several added scenes later, several cuts, it ended up, he ended up finally producing it. So it wasn't almost done. It was not finished at all. They had so much work to do, and then it ended up just being exactly like the Whedon version, just sadder. It wasn't even anything that special, especially not they did that dumb black and white version. So golly, I can't believe people fall for this. But not, that's not the only thing he lied about. He has lied, besides that, he one of the things he said was that it was going to be a mini series because it was 4 hours long. So he said, oh, it's going to be a 4-part, 1 hour. That ended up being a lie. He said that Cyborg is the heart of the Justice League movie. That was a lie. It was clearly Flash was the heart of that film. Everyone likes, wanted criminal. Well, he's not wanted anymore. He's been tried and convicted. But convicted criminal Ezra Miller. Anyone who watched his cut of the movie could tell that Ezra Miller was basically the main character. His version of the Flash was the main character of that movie. A whole bunch of other stuff that I could point to, but this is just something that he does consistently. So it's certainly a possible thing that his cut of his movie, so Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, which that director's cut is even worse than the theatrical version, and then at least it answers some of the massive plot holes that was in the theatrical version, or Justice League. We'll see. Basically, he's put himself in a win-win position. So like I said, around the times of the film's anniversaries, Warner Brothers will license out their properties, and if they don't, like he's around the time his knockoff of Rebel Moon comes out, and it's his Star Wars wannabe, right, film. Say if they don't, then he can play the victim. Oh, there's Warner Brothers still just can't get over what a genius I am. That it was all, I played them for a fool. And of course his fan base, they'll eat it up, like piranhas. That's kind of what they do. But then if they do put it on, he'll gin up more excitement, more of this false thing. His bot army on social media will release all these hashtags. David Ayer, who loved the Suicide Squad until he didn't. That's another guy who's a total fraud. I mean, he's an okay director. I mean, he's hit and miss certainly, but this whole thing about his cut of Suicide Squad, he was out there. He was out there praising the theatrical cut, literally, up until it wasn't cool anymore. That was so I don't even want to hear it about his release my cut, and people were saying, oh, but he had no choice, blah blah blah. Directors all the time were saying my movie got chopped up in the studio, so why would David Ayer be different? Zack Snyder did. And one thing I do respect about Zack Snyder is he held to his guns. He got the thing made. Good for him. He lied about how far along it was, certainly, but he got it made and he got it out there. And his fans are clamoring for it to be released on IMAX. Why not? Let him do it. Who cares? Let him get his vision out there. Let people see it in the theaters. Warner Brothers would probably make a lot of money. Certainly the $60 million that they, from the blank check they gave him to finish it. So do it. Get it out there. Who cares? Give him some of his residuals. Let him, let him and his fans have that, glory moment in the sun. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I know this is kind of a small topic and everything, but, it's just Zack Snyder, he just gins up so much social media outrage, and there's really no reason for it. I mean, like I said, he's not a good director. He's very good visually, but as a storyteller, he is just a total misfire on that front. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment, tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to Studio Jake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.